Change takes time, growth takes work, but showing up every day is progress.
This is the 365 Proof Podcast, where we share real stories, honest conversations, and practical insight from mental health experts, addiction specialists, and people living the message.
If you're looking for guidance, inspiration, or real insight into recovery and purpose, you're in the right place.
Welcome back to the 365 Proof Podcast by Defining Wellness. I'm your host, Daniel Phyfer.
And I'm Courtney Milan, co-host.
And today we have a very special guest. She is a friend and a colleague of both Courtney and I, and it is Miss Heather Lary. Welcome to the studio, Heather.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome, Lary.
Thanks.
Heather, I actually got to know Heather through Courtney, so thank you, Courtney.
Yes.
And we've become friends, and I really respect who she is as a woman and a professional. And so we're just really glad that the timing worked out for you to be in town to come in here.
I know. How about that?
Perfect.
Yeah. So Heather is the director of referral relations and marketing at the Carpenter Shed, which is a facility in Monroe, Louisiana that specializes in treating young men from age 16 to 20.
Yes.
And that is something that I'm very interested in, as I have been that boy before. And, I think we may shed a tear or two while we're in here, but
It's
We all might.
been known to happen.
Yeah,
so
we all might. Nobody cries alone, man.
that's right.
That's right.
That's right. Heather, spent 15 years in pharmaceutical sales and over a decade now in this space. And so, Heather, with whatever you're comfortable with, let's start with the origin of you, pharmaceutical sales and moving into the mental health world. And I'm just really excited to get into the details and
Sure.
some of the barriers and everything that comes along with treating young guys that I was like. So I know that it's a challenge.
Yeah, right. I cannot imagine
Yeah, it was a
getting a phone
disaster.
call from your parents.
It was a disaster. Yeah.
She
I'd been
loves
like,
these boys,
"Ooh,
though.
This is
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
Don't you? You love these
I
boys.
love
So
Yeah.
so tell us about how you ended up here. Where did it start?
Ooh. Okay. So I feel like Chunk from the Goonies, where he's like, it all started with.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about. Okay, one thing I did forget to mention is your degree in special education.
Yes.
From Ole
Okay.
Miss.
So we'll start there.
Yeah,
So
let's do that. I know that's
degree in
important.
special education, and that is probably the route that has driven really everything. Even in my pharma years, I think that it always went back to how can I help, how can I serve, how can I make someone else's life or situation better.
Mhm.
So when I look back on that and that need to serve even that population at very early years of going to camps and being a camp counselor at Civitan camp for
Yeah.
for those developmentally delayed and really handicapped children. I mean, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then that already forged the path for, I knew what I was going to get my degree in. I mean, I was like, well, this is easy, special ed. I mean, that was
Right.
a very easy path forward when I got to Ole Miss. And interestingly enough, there was, about 4 of us doing that at Ole Miss. Everybody else was doing all the fun stuff. But, I'm like, I'm going to my special ed classes.
Yeah.
So did that. And then that kind of led into, really teaching, and it just went from there.
Mhm.
It just kind of all just 7 years in, and you start looking at other pathways because, as teachers, we don't make enough money.
Yeah.
That makes
no.
complete sense.
Yeah.
I forgot you started in special
Yeah.
ed. I mean,
Yeah.
just you're such a caretaker, and
Well,
I
I don't see that side of me. I just see this driven need
It's okay.
to
We see it.
yes.
to help to do what I can and help them help families, and so it goes back to that. So that's
Yeah.
the core
Mhm.
of really what got me here.
Well, you're going from teaching to sales in pharmaceuticals, which again, and it's like when people say the word sales in this industry, it just kind of makes you kind of shiver a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, going from teaching and a passion in special ed to pharmaceutical sales, which I imagine is pretty high pressure.
Yes.
Lots of travel, on the move,
Yes.
boom, boom, boom,
Yes.
boom.
Yes.
I knowing you you have a natural ability to connect with people. So I'm not surprised that you were able to shift from that to a, a high pressure
Yeah.
sales job. But like, tell us a little bit about like what that was like. Had
I-
you
I-
ever done sales before?
No, I had
Okay.
not. Well, when I was in high school, I mean, I sold clothes.
Of
at,
course.
Waldorf's, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you'd call that sales. But I will say this. So I have often said that the pharmaceutical industry, for everything it does wrong, I will say that from an employee and from like learning the sales process and learning the structure behind what you need to do to to structure your week, your month, your all of the things. I mean, it just really teaches you the structure that you need to do any high performing job, because I mean it just requires that of you.
Yeah.
So the structure behind it was really good for me. But at the same time, I was also a classroom teacher, so
Yeah.
obviously I love structure.
Right.
So
And you can
so-
handle chaos too.
right, structure and
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Structure and chaos. Isn't that
Yeah.
funny?
As we both looked at her.
Right.
That's good.
Structure and chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, we know. We all know. No.
Court.
Well, that's good. And then you started kind of ventured into the mental health world, and you've kind of found your home at Carpenter Shed. And so Carpenter Shed, you said, started in 2016.
Yeah. So it started it's privately owned, and Kyle Smith, Josh Hudnall, and Andrew Dodson are the owners, and Kyle serves in program as the CEO every day. So Kyle's there, and it started in 2016 as just what I would say is like the sober living, like 21 and above or whatever, and then it kind of morphed and morphed and morphed and morphed. But then about 3.5 years ago or so, it just completely changed into what it is now. And so we've just been really building out all of it because, as what we see now is just a completely different kid, especially post-COVID. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like when we were talking about that article, it's like access to changing the way you feel in so many different ways is instantaneous.
Oh, 100%.
And even, and I'm young, but I grew up in the 90s, but like even seeing these kids now, it's like, I mean, we were outside still. I think the iPhone came out when I was like in the tail end of high school. The iPhone came out, and then social media kind of happened while we were in college. So like, I remember playing Nintendo 64 and like being outside all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's like screen.
yeah.
And I know y'all, we talked about this a little while ago, and I'm going to kind of, how I am. I'll probably go down a couple different rabbit holes.
I'm following you.
But I'm just so passionate. I'm so interested in this because, with that comes, there's that age. Tell me about why 16 to 20. And I think I know the answer, but I think our listeners would be very curious about why that age gap.
Sure. I mean, just looking at it developmentally, right? So like that age group there is really where you're as a young man, right? You're really forming who you are as a person, and we believe that between those ages of 16 and 20, that's where that is happening. You're really trying to decide, who am I becoming as a young man? Who am I becoming? And what am I going to put my feet on as the foundation of that? And they can't tell you.
They don't know.
They don't know. And so we also believe too that creating a program where we can keep them, just because you're 17 today and you have all the problems that you have today, but tomorrow you turn 18 and we have to tell you, oh yeah, you got to leave.
Yeah.
Because now today you're 18. Your problems are the exact same problems that you had yesterday. Why would we do that to a young man who has placed all of his trust, in our team, in his therapist, in his developmental counselor, which is, the life coach, which we can talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
But, that's our belief, is like, well, why would you do that? He's not developed.
Yeah.
Far from it.
You're right. So underdeveloped. So why would we do that? So we just created this space, this unique space where we're saying, hey, we're going to do whatever it takes to be able to say, this is who we're going to treat. This is what we're going to do well. We're going to focus on this developmental time period of these young men, and what does it take to pour into that to redirect this and to really try to get them to make those decisions of who am I becoming, and what does that look like for me, and what is my purpose, meaning, and direction? Because without purpose and without meaning, none of us as human beings have a direction. You got to have that.
Mm-hmm.
These boys don't
Yeah.
at all. And
Did
so-
we? Did we
No,
have it?
No, I'm sitting here and I'm already getting emotional just thinking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I knew who I was, or at least I thought I knew who I was supposed to be.
Yeah, mhm.
Right.
You know what I mean? I
What was
I
expected?
knew what was expected of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if those were said or unsaid expectations, the environment that I was a product of generated those opinions in my mind. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I suffered from perfectionism, and I still do. It's a
Yeah.
challenge. Shame and just all those things, and just negative self-talk constantly. I compared myself, my parents even were never like, you have to be the best baseball player in Mississippi, or you've got to be the smartest kid at prep, and
Yeah.
your ACT score, they weren't like that. But for some reason along the way, my environment generated this in my mind.
Right.
And because I was so uncomfortable in my own skin, I chased that for a long time,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then I found drugs and alcohol, and I was
Solved
like,
it all.
yes, I
Yeah.
can breathe.
Right.
That's right.
But like, I think I wish that language of figuring out who you are, even in the adult SUD mental health world, I wish that was more so of the message. Like
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
job
we didn't
is,
have that message.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was it was get it together.
Yeah, right.
Instead of, hey, you're still becoming. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
55. I'm still becoming someone.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm still evolving.
You're evolving.
Right. And to be 16
In this day and age.
yeah, right. And there's so much coming at them, and then it's trying to figure out, well, what is driving the patterns and behaviors in these young men?
Mm-hmm.
What is causing that need for any form of escapism from their own life? Where is that coming from?
Right.
And you have to really start taking a look at, what is that? Because we believe anyway that, in this age group, that's what we're looking for. We're not going to call him, well, you're an addict, or
Right,
we're
right.
not doing that. We're
Mhm.
saying, hey, there's a reason why your son is trying to escape this feeling or this pressure or the there's a reason here. So we've really got to get to a place with him where he can identify what that is. We can identify it. He can identify it. He can, have any insight into, well, why am I having these feelings, or why am I behaving the way that I am, or why am I, smoking weed or drinking or whatever it might be, pornography, all the things that this age group is doing as a form of escapism.
And so you're not putting labels? Is that what you mean? Like, we're not telling you you're an addict?
We're not telling you you're an addict. We're saying, hey, you're struggling. And so we have to kind of walk this back and peel back the layers of the onion of, and trying to figure out, well, why are we doing what we're doing?
I like that.
And so that could be, are we missing a diagnosis, or have we missed the diagnosis altogether? We're looking at all of those things of, from the clinical aspect. We're saying, okay, like, what does this profile look like? What's going on with this young man? Looking at the family system, all of the things that a really good clinical team needs to be doing, right? And building out an individual plan for him, clinical plan. And then the family plan, of course, we all believe in, a really good family systems approach. And then, so we're looking at those things. But we are also, and should be, and I think this is the whole here that we have found, in treatment out there in this age group is the development piece of this. How has he developed, or how is he undeveloped? And how can we then speak into that? Because that's the rub there. Because the clinical team is like, hey, we're in our lane over here, in our lane. And then, well, who's addressing these other things that are going on with this young man?
Right.
Like, who's helping him with that? And so we kind of took a look at that, and we're like, there's a really big gap here that somebody needs to fill.
Right.
He's not accepting that from his own father, or from, a stepfather, or an uncle, or a mentor, or a coach. Like, he's not accepting that in the life there at home. Like he's not accepting that.
Mhm.
So what do we need to do to fill that void?
Mm. Yeah, my head's spinning.
Yeah.
You know, I we talked about this too. You know, I referenced a young man that I was helping locally here in town,
Mhm.
and you know, we'll get to the families. That's a whole nother conversation. You know, because you can learn something from your parents or your family
Oh yeah.
that they're doing or that they're not doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and I think my experience was that they're not doing. You know,
Right.
with my parents, and they're very open. You know about that, and they did a great job. Don't get me wrong, but they only knew what they knew from what they knew.
Right.
Listen, I tell my own boys, like, they hand you a baby
Yep.
and they say, good luck.
Yep.
You know?
Right.
And so every time, you know, I'm in conflict with mine, you know, I'm like, look, I've never had an 18-year-old before. You're my first one.
Right.
And so I'm just trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know
Right.
what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
I'm just doing the best I
That's
can.
right.
Yeah,
Excuse
yeah.
the word. But
No,
I mean,
it's
it's
good.
like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so how do, like, there's grace, right?
Of course.
You as parents, we have to provide that for ourselves because we're not given
Right.
the magic answers or you know,
No.
we're just doing, every parent is doing the best they can. Some of us are more equipped than others.
For sure.
Mhm.
And everybody's different, right? I mean, I think about a young man, and I think about like my journey with treatment started a little bit later than some of my good buddies. I mean, like my core group of guys that I grew up with, we're all alive, thank God. But I think that 7 out of probably 14 of us are in long-term recovery.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's 50%
Yeah.
of like a core group of buddies. And it's a blessing, right? It's a blessing. But some of those friends of mine, their journey started around 16. You know,
Mhm.
they went to Wilderness,
Yeah.
and then they came back more screwed up than when they left. I mean, you know,
Right.
not a knock at Wilderness, but Wilderness is it's hardcore. You
Mhm.
know, and they maybe weren't prepared for it or whatever the case may be. Wilderness also saved a couple of my friends' life.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
everybody's different, but
Right.
you know, their journey started soon. Boarding school
Oh, yeah.
Right.
was a big thing.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
going to military
Yep.
school and
Yep.
things like that.
Right.
And so, you know, as a person in long-term recovery and as somebody that's lived it and now working in the space, like I see how labels could be bad
Mhm.
for a young man who maybe he's dabbling a little bit. Maybe he's not there yet.
Right.
Right.
And so that in combination with developed and undeveloped, I think that messaging, because language is so important, that messaging can give those kids hope. Like, and you said today, tomorrow, you know, all the things.
Right.
Mhm.
But I love the focus on the behavior, you know, because like when I get a call for an adolescent, you know, regardless, it's like, yeah, you know, he smokes his THC pen sometimes, but like he's a disaster. His behavior is a disaster. And so I think for a lot of people that listen, they probably have no clue that a lot of these resources are out there. You know, I know people in our industry do, thank God, but the general public, like we talked about with primary mental health treatment, they just assume
You're
need to go to
locked
the
up.
site, you're locked up. You
Yeah.
know, you need a key card to get in.
Right.
All, you know, things like that. But like for young people, there are places out there. And I love how y'all focus on the fitness piece and the spirituality and all that, but like the mentorship around and the coaching.
Yeah.
Because like coaching for a young man plays so
Crucial.
well. Does that make sense? Like it's like
Yes.
you're not putting them, of course they're going to have a therapist and a doctor and all those things. Those things are extremely
Right.
important. But like when you give them a coach, kind of like a cheerleader,
Yeah.
to show them the way,
Mhm.
man, I had a lot of mentors in my life, but when I was young, I would have killed to have had like what I have in sobriety,
Yeah.
with like a sponsor or
Right.
people in the program.
Right.
Like, for them to see that at a young age, I
Yeah.
think is so huge. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It is.
Yeah.
And I will say this too. The way that we do that, I mean, it's just so relational, and it's
mhm.
there's no judgment, there's no shame. I mean, it is highly relational, and from the very beginning of the young men coming into the program, I mean, they're assigned, we know who's going to be assigned to that kid when they come in through the admissions process. And so that developmental counselor's there waiting on him. And it's like, hey, my guy,
I'm your dude.
I bet you're hungry.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We're going down.
Exactly.
We're going to the Chick-fil-A or Cane's
Right.
or
That's
whatever.
awesome.
And so we're just right out of the gate. It's just calming it down.
Exactly.
Normalizing it a little bit.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm here to be your guy.
Because
your guy.
a lot of especially younger people, like you're in high school and like, you leave and then you've got all this shame. I mean, even when I got out of college, I went to treatment for the first time or fresh out of college. When you leave, people are going to start talking about
Right.
it. And so-and-so went to boarding school or so-and-so went to, they're going to say rehab and
Right.
the
Oh,
terms.
yeah.
But that's hard for a kid who doesn't know who he is.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
That's when that negative reinforcement starts coming in.
Yeah,
and
I've
you start-
lost all my friends.
it's so, and I hate to use the word funny, but it is funny because they have so much life ahead of them.
Oh, it's a,
It's like that. My
such a
life
brief.
is over.
Yeah.
And I'm
They
like,
can't
"You're-
even.
No.
You just started
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is y'all's length of stay average?
6 months.
Okay.
So it's 6 months.
Mm.
The Carpentership program is 6 months. And then we also have an extended version. So like the guys that graduate out of the Carpentership program, sometimes, at that 6 month mark, they might not quite ready to go.
Yeah.
And so, or we need to practice those skills. And that's really kind of how we verbalize this. It's like, we need to practice this.
Right.
So let's stay and do, like an independent living. Now we call it that, but it's
Right.
really not. It's the phase 5 re-engage phase, but it's a house separate. We have a staff member that's there 24/7. So, I mean, we got eyes on them. But what we're really trying to do is say, hey, it's time. Let's do a little bit more practicing, giving you a little bit more independence.
And how do they take that? Because,
They love
when
it.
I was in admissions, trying to get an adult to commit for 30 days,
Yeah.
Oh,
it was the end of the world.
it's
Well,
insane.
listen, it's always the end of the world with
You
these
know.
boys.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, especially if
I
there's a
bet.
girl. There's always a girl.
I was
tell you
gonna
every
get to
week,
that.
a girl.
There's
There you
always
go.
a girl.
And there will be 5 more by the time
That's
it gets
right.
me.
That's right. There's always a girl.
But God, he loves her.
You can't
No,
can't
they
process it.
Listen, I would not going to say every, but I will say probably 98% of the phone calls, it all starts with, well, there's a girlfriend. I'm like,
Of
Mama,
course there
Here we
is.
go.
There's always a
Yeah,
girl.
for sure.
Yeah, there's always a girl. But
Yeah.
so usually that's the rub of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the girl. I would say that the majority of them at the time that they actually are coming into program, they've kind of, I use this loosely, they've kind of lost everything. Like they're backed into a corner. They've
Yeah.
been kicked out of school or
Right.
failing out of school, expelled, been kicked off football or basketball, sports where at one time they were a high performer and then all of these things started snowballing and that kind of went away or they got kicked off of that. So that like things, their world
It's
has gotten,
crumbling.
It's crumbling.
It's gotten
And,
very,
and they have
very
no
small.
direction, and y'all help them find that.
Yes, it's
It's
like
amazing.
how do we get that back?
Man.
And so them agreeing to stay, a lot of times it's again they are walking with a new sense of self, and so after that 6 month period where they are really feeling like, oh, I can carry the weight of my own existence.
Mhm.
I didn't think I could,
Yeah.
and that is huge, y'all, because these boys come in and they don't know that they can do that,
Mm-hmm.
and so getting them to a place where it's like, hey, my guy, you can carry the weight of your life.
Right.
And it's not your mom and dad's job to do that.
Right.
No.
It is your job to do that.
Mhm.
And so we're going to start helping you learn what it takes to carry the weight of your own life.
Right.
Because when you're 20, when you're 24, or when you're 30, or when you're 35, I mean, it's just not your parents' job to do that.
No,
it's
it's
your
not.
job.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting them to a place of, first of all, accepting that because, they want to,
Oh, yeah.
it's all my mom and dad's fault. If it weren't for my mom and dad, it's all
Right.
my mom and dad's fault.
Yeah,
It's always there.
like,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
maybe, but
Yeah.
we'll unpack that
Right.
over here. But it's maybe.
Yeah.
Of course, we know family systems, and we know family
Yeah.
systems plays a role. And if you guide the family one way, then typically the kid will follow, right?
Yes.
Of course.
And so we're over here doing all of our our work with the family system and, Jedi mind tricks with our young man and trying to get him to kind of move along. But once you start getting a few wins with them, and once you kind of start peeling that away from each other, and maybe it's, mom is hanging on, and mom is really over involved. Let's use that word.
Okay.
That sounds
Sure.
much nicer.
Yes.
Maybe an over involved mom.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe a really strict dad or absent dad. Dad's hanging on by a thread because he's at work and he's traveling, and mom's at home and she's hanging. I mean, give all the parents grace, right? Of how the family's functioning.
Right.
But once we kind of peel back the weight of that, and then we start adding some weight to his life as he moves through the program, and we're able to add a little bit more and add a little bit more and add a little bit more, you start seeing them carry themselves differently.
Right.
You really do. They start walking in with a whole, different stride, different way you see it in the way they carry themselves, in the way their shoulders are back, their heads are up. We're taking a little bit better care of our, daily living skills. Like we're washing our hair and we're doing the things, and our clothes are clean because we've learned how to wash our own clothes.
Right.
So they do start learning that, oh, well, I can do it. I am capable of doing more than I thought I was. And so at that point, by the time we're 6 months in, we're hoping that what he's learned is, I can be both things. I can be a guy that carries a book, and I can be a guy that carries a sword too.
Right.
I can be both.
Mm-hmm.
I can do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to me to do that. I have to make the decisions.
And then just being around other young men.
Yeah.
That community piece is so.
I often say this to parents too. When we're trying to figure out where did it start? Like if we build out the timeline of when you started noticing changes, or do we already know what that was? And, we can kind of start looking at that. And one of the things that I say to parents is, hey, there might be that 30 seconds of being in a group where one kid has just outstanding, courageous, unbelievable courage to share what happened to him. And then that might bleed into your son.
Oh, yeah.
Your son might be like,
of course.
Wow, if he had 30 seconds of courage and he just told all of us his most intimate fear, wound, trauma, whatever we want to call that, maybe I can do that too.
Yep.
And
so that's the beauty of being in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's going to come in reserved, especially young men. I mean, some maybe not. Some may, like you said, there may be that one person, but a lot of times, and I love how y'all have a phase system is
great.
Yeah.
Love a phase.
That's what works.
Right.
So we do a reset and a rebuild, and we do that for 90 days. And then redefine and renew. And then the re-engage is that phase that we just talked about with the independent living.
But like, sometimes it's that guy that maybe there's a 16-year-old that comes in and there's like an 18-year-old that's been there for 90 days.
Yeah.
And he's able to be a mentor for the first time maybe in his life and experience that. And then, for that new guy, like I still am best friends with my buddy from phase 1 at Prescott House.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Y'all
have a core group, right?
Oh, yeah.
Text.
Oh, yeah.
That is unusual to hear that, going that far back.
I mean,
That's great.
He is still one of my best friends. I remember when I got there when we went to the grocery store together.
Yeah.
Like I remember all of it.
That's awesome.
And like, that's why that buddy phase system is so good. Well, it's structure and it's giving responsibility to like a senior member in the community.
Right.
Things like that. I just love, because not only that, and then I'll nerd out on this too, but the clinical opportunities that come from giving someone authority and then watching somebody how they perceve authority.
Right.
It's like, I mean, if you're a therapist, you're just like,
yes, right.
Well, and
bring it on.
Right.
I'll say too that's where, again, I'm not downplaying the clinical side because
Right.
that part of it is immensely important and hard.
Of course.
You know, so the clinical piece of it, the developmental counseling piece of it, where the life coaches really, you know, come in and do a lot of that mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
It's the you know, the coaching part, yes, the relationship part, yes, but it's also the modeling it out.
Yeah.
You know, them seeing how those guys are now walking their lives out, who share their stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, we do have some DCs who were or are, you know, in recovery and were very similar to how some of these boys are functioning now when they were this age.
Yeah.
And so kind of, and come from all different backgrounds and have all different, you know, families of origin,
Yeah.
you know, where some were better and some were worse as far as
Right.
their family systems and how they functioned, or no family system,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So having the ability to be able to say, hey, my guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, walked in your shoes, been there,
Yeah.
done that. I think, again, I just cannot stress this enough, that I think that is what's missing in this age group. And it was the gap that we saw, that it was like, hey, that piece of this, you can get you know, recovery coaching and things like that when they go back home,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we all know we could probably pull out our phone right now and have 5 different, you know, recovery
Right.
coaches that we work with and things like back in communities, but really having the ability to have that in a program where it's literally 2 separate pieces acting together at the same
Yeah.
time,
Love
That's
that.
awesome.
trying to shift and mold and shape these young
Mm.
men
Yeah. That's awesome.
while they're in program. It's not after program. It's like while you're there, we've got to address it.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to look at how he's underdeveloped and try to catch him back up.
Right.
And that's everything from, you know, literally, I mean, I tell parents this, like, we're going to be looking at, is he caring for himself? Just
Right.
shower? Are we showering?
Yeah.
Because most, you know, a lot of these guys aren't.
Life skills.
Y'all are getting
Life
them, you
skills,
know,
yeah.
y'all's
Yeah.
age group with the adults that
Oh,
just,
life skills are
Yeah.
out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They forgot.
Yeah.
Or never learned
and
it.
then they're like so entitled that they're like,
Yes.
wait, what do you mean? My bed's made. Like, and then you go
Right.
look at it and it's like the sheets thrown on top.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's like, no,
exactly.
your bed's not
No.
made.
no,
Not
You
bad.
know, it's not.
no. Or that's the same shirt you had on yesterday, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, we had a dude who he dressed poorly and he had to wear a suit for a week. I mean, it was
Yeah.
intense. But anyway, I say
We
all
don't do
this.
that.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about where I went.
Old
for
school.
Yeah,
That's
old
old
school.
school.
Old school.
Yeah.
But just I think let me ask you this. What are
Okay.
y'all seeing the most of? Like, what recently have you been like, man, this is really taking these young people
Yeah, I'm
down the
hot to
wrong,
know
the
that.
wrong road? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, the THC.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. The access is crazy.
The access is crazy. The inability for the young men to even see what it's actually doing to them. And of course, you know, we're getting guys that it is literally affecting their cognitive ability. I mean, it
Mhm.
is unbelievable. And then, of course, the ones that have gone into THC, into psychosis that we get into
Yeah,
treatment,
that's huge right now.
it just
Yeah.
takes so long.
To
Mhm.
clear up.
Yes,
Yeah.
to get them back.
Have y'all had to enhance your medical because of that? Do you feel like, or were y'all pretty prepared for?
We were
for all
kind of
that?
prepared
Yeah.
for it because, you know, again, I mean, we're already seeing guys who are doing other things. It's
Right.
just that right now the THC is just so easily accessible, and it is
Concealable.
yes,
God.
it's in every school bathroom.
Yeah.
It's on every school bus, and any parent who is telling themselves, "Oh, well,
Not Jimmy.
no,"
Jimmy would never.
or it's not in our
Right.
school.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not in our school.
our
Yeah,
school.
that's
I
a
mean, I
good
have
one.
some
Girl,
friends.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I have some friends, and they're like, I mean, everybody does it.
It's not a big
Oh,
deal.
that
And I'm like,
Yeah. It's just weed.
right.
Yeah.
It's-
That's
it
the
ain't
classic
just
quote.
weed anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
and
it's all
even if it
synthetic.
was,
It's all synthetic. Like,
Y'all, I could tell.
I know.
It's just the stories, but you know, again, when it leads then into behavior and the patterns of those behaviors, and then these boys literally unwinding, and I mean they're unraveling rather, you know, at 16, 17, 18, to where, I mean, they've stopped. They've
Mhm.
stopped developing. You know,
Right.
like, are they
they're-
getting out of the bed even?
right? That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I mean,
Or
it is,
away
It cuts
from-
it off.
Yeah.
totally.
Mhm.
It's like it just stops, and so that is it's unnerving. And the other thing that we've seen an uptick on, and we've actually done some training around this for therapists and DCs, is, you know, the online gambling at this age. It's getting younger and younger and younger. And let me tell y'all, every parent needs to really pay attention to this, because it is coming. And these kids, again, I mean, I could, 5-year-olds know more about my computer than I know about mine,
Right.
but these guys, they're watching, and they see when mom and dad are getting on their bank account, and they're watching mom and dad do their online banking and the access to credit cards and sharing Apple IDs, all of the things. The way that these boys are getting into
They're so creative.
these accounts, your retirement accounts, your bank accounts, your savings, all of it. I mean,
To gamble.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's gone. It's gone. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't get it back. When your
No,
kid
you lose
has
it.
done that and gotten money out of your savings or out of your accounts or whatever, it is you're not getting it back, and it is, I can just name 25,000, 50,000, and parents are like, it happened in a week. It's like from the moment that it started and we caught it, it's
gone.
I mean, yeah, it's 5 digits. I mean, it's nuts.
Side note, I want to get with you on a little bit more about that training. I think our staff would appreciate some training around that too. with
What, the gambling
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll bookmark that.
Yeah, for sure. Just because, we had, we had the gambling commission reach out to us, and we were like, look, we're primary substance dual diagnosis, but there are people who come in who are full blown alcoholics, and then we come in and they come in and then they tell their case manager, well, I lost 30 grand last month.
Right.
Right.
And then we're like, okay, we need to
Yeah.
dig into that a little bit.
Right. Let's pump the brakes a minute.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
And did
So-
y'all know
Totally
Stuart's a
changed.
certified gambling counselor?
What?
Yes.
Stu,
Yeah.
look at
And
you though,
he-
holding out on us. On
Yeah,
this
you're
intel.
gatekeeping.
Well,
is what they say.
that's
Right.
kind of his passion, is the compulsive gambler.
No, did not know this.
Yes. And he just brought it up the other day. He goes, you know how bad this online gambling's about to be with these young people? And I was like, really? And he was like, oh, Courtney,
Yeah.
it's going to be horrible.
I mean, you get on any app and there is an ad for
Yeah.
gambling. It's everywhere.
It is.
It's everywhere.
It is. But I just cannot stress though.
Yeah.
The parents really taking a hard look at locking down accounts. That
Yeah.
if that's the biggest advice that comes off of this
Can
whole
you
thing today,
Yeah.
is if you if your son is struggling with this and you are checking your bank account and then you get up and walk out and you do not log out,
Oh, goodness.
that
Yeah.
that is a huge mistake that
Wow.
parents make. So you just got to be really careful and make sure you're watching it.
And they're doing it probably high
Yeah.
or
the-
not.
or they
No,
just-
I would say
just
it's,
an escape.
You can gamble on anything now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
true.
mean, there are people gambling on dog racing.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
everything.
it's like, and then peer pressure and whatever you want to call it, everybody's doing
Right.
it, and then it just becomes like, oh, well,
Yeah,
let me
it's
get into my mom's credit card real quick and I'll get $1,000 out.
right.
And then they lose it, and then they're like, I got to get that back.
Yeah,
And
Right.
then they lose 1,000
right.
more.
It's
trying
a,
to
it's
get
a,
Yeah.
right.
and then get my
it's-
own credit card in my parents' name.
It's
nuts.
authorized user,
Right.
whatever
It's
whatever that
nuts.
means.
Exactly.
It's
Um,
nuts.
All right, so that's a good segue into let's talk parents. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. I think I have found in my personal experience working with parents of young adults, or even adolescents, older adolescents. I have found that there is kind of a major justification for behaviors or habits or dysfunction based upon their age. Does that make sense? Like, oh well, he's only 19. He can't even legally drink yet. Okay, Sally, he's drinking every day, so like he can get it.
Right.
This is irrelevant to the conversation.
Right. It doesn't.
So
yeah.
I think there's a part of it that's the parent that doesn't want it to be as bad as it is, and then that's a part of them kind of clinging onto this unrealistic thing where it's like, oh, well, he'll grow out of it. So like, I know y'all deal with, we deal with some interventionists and some consultants as well,
Yeah.
probably on a smaller scale than y'all do. But I know that the majority of the people who are sending y'all young
Mhm.
boys to treat are probably already clinical. They're certified. They handle family systems on their own. And I know, and eventually we'll get a couple of them in here to get their side of things.
Mhm.
But
That's a
from
good
where
idea.
from where we sit, dealing with families and the model of family systems and treating families, which is ultimately good. That's good care.
Right.
You
That-
have to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That said,
Again, the client's going to follow the family. If
Do
you can
you-
move the family, the client will follow.
yeah. Do you see that justification because based on age ever, or by the time they get to y'all, are they just like
Take him.
hands up?
Well, okay, so
Am I making sense?
yeah, but I think that here it is and in both and or.
Okay.
So sometimes it's or I guess if I'm looking at from the consultant, let's start with the consultants.
Okay.
So the consultants have really done a lot of the heavy weight.
For sure.
Okay, or an intervention has done the heavy weight.
Mm-hmm.
So they've kind of pulled the family along.
Right.
Okay. Not that they've done the work, but they've gotten the buy-in from mom and dad of
Absolutely.
like, it's time to
Yeah.
pull the trigger. We got to go. And so here's where I love working with consultants is because typically by the time the kids get with us, they've done all the assessments that I need. They've done the diagnosing. There's typically med management has already, taken place. Potentially have already done, maybe even a first time at
Right.
maybe gone to wilderness,
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Right.
And then they're then they're ready to come in and like really get to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and let's see.
So that is a benefit to have all that.
for sure.
That's,
It is
that's
a benefit.
nice.
And I will say that for me, like on my side of this,
Right.
like from admission side, it's a
It's
beautiful,
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Because
it
it's like,
is.
oh, we're just getting all the
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have to search for it. It's great.
For sure.
Yeah, you're ready
We got
to
it.
treat
And I
That's right,
guess
we
when they're
got it.
coming in.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm glad you said that because I think you're right. I think I'm kind of seeing it more of like front end when I get the
Right.
first call, and that's when I need to call a consultant or an interventionist.
Right.
Truthfully.
Yeah.
But like I at that point, and I guess this would be
And that happens.
for sure.
That happens.
For sure. And I think like at that point, it's like, all right, there's a lot of justification based on age. I've seen it time and time again.
Right.
It's real, and maybe justification is not the word.
Well, so when you get a parent that's like, well, he's 19 and we can maybe if we just bite the stick. I kind of always use the reference of like just gonna bite the stick and just bear through it. I still go back to with those parents. Hey, he doesn't know who he is. He cannot keep a job.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't leave his bedroom, and he's going to be 24, and you're still going to be financially responsible for him. And this is still, this is where this is headed.
Right.
Like, are you prepared for that?
Yeah.
Are you prepared for him to be 24
In the basement.
in the basement, smoking weed and playing video games, and then Ubering his food that he's using your credit card for? Is that,
Right,
are we
right.
ready for that? Is that
Yeah.
where we want to go? Because he's 19.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now he should be able to carry the weight of his own life. He should have a job. He should be able to juggle job and school. He should be able to juggle job, school, and daily living skills, washing his clothes, working off of a budget,
Mm-hmm.
buying his own food and cooking his own food. As a matter of fact, he should be cooking food for you.
Yeah, for sure.
And so part of what, when we start like picking all that apart, I'm like, what does he contribute to your family system as a 19-year-old?
Yeah.
Is he paying any of his own bills? Does he have the ability to do that? Well, no, he can't keep a job. Well, he won't leave his room to even go get a job. Okay, Mom, let's walk this out.
Yeah.
And are we
yeah.
preparing him? Are we preparing him not only to be able to be responsible for himself, right? To live independently and have a job and do all the things that he needs to do. But what is his what does his family look like? What are you preparing him for his wife and children and his own children? Because he has to be able to serve others. He has to be able to serve his family. He has to be able to serve his children.
Yeah.
He's not leaving his room.
Yeah.
He's smoking
right.
weed.
He hadn't
you know?
showered in a week.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are we going to get him there?
Right.
You know what I used to say to some of the parents sometimes? If you were to die today,
Yeah.
would your child be able?
Yeah.
Right.
What would it look like?
Seriously.
Their life, because you're carrying it all.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What? how are they going to eat?
Right.
I mean,
Part of it, and then I start kind of walking through
that
like some
morbid?
of the things that
No,
we
it's
do with
good.
them, and I say to moms, like, well, who's cooking his food? Well, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, why isn't he cooking his own food? Well, I've just always done it.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how. Okay. Well, part of the program,
I was about to ask.
yeah, part of the program from the very beginning of this is on Sundays in each house they have a house meeting, and one of the things that we're doing is saying, okay, so everybody's signing up for one night a week. That's your
Love
night to
it.
cook.
I love
Staff
that.
is going to be here, obviously, because some of these guys have never boiled
before.
water.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, don't get near the stove.
Yeah.
But but you're picking the menu that for the night that you're going to cook, and you're
Love it.
also turning in your list of ingredients. So you may come on out there and be like, oh, we're gonna have pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my guy,
Yeah.
it ain't gonna be frozen pizza.
Yeah, you better get that dough.
That's
You better
right.
get that
This
dough.
ain't
rolling.
this ain't DiGiorno.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now you got to go around the room and ask everybody what they want.
See,
on their
they think
pizza.
they're getting
Right.
off slick on
Exactly.
that. I'm
That's
just going to put it in the
Oh,
oven.
Right.
the biggest one is chicken fingers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
We're going to be bread.
let's go.
Yeah.
Get
Gotta
the buttermilk.
flour.
Buttermilk.
Yeah. We're going to need 4 bowls.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
And you're making how many chicken fingers? Because there are 12 boys here.
That's right.
So how many? Are we doing?
Okay. Good question. What's y'all's capacity in average census typically?
So we have, so I'll back it up. And we have 20 acres where the houses are, and there's 2 houses. So phases 1 and phase 2 are, which is the really structured piece of the
Mhm.
program. They're doing, 25 hours a week of group, their individual sessions, 2 a week with their therapist, and then
2 a week?
Yeah, and then 2 with their DCs.
See, that's so
But the
good.
DCs are always with them, and the therapists are always with them. Though they're teaching groups, they're doing experiential with them. I mean, we have a huge experiential programming from the very beginning. Functional fitness. We own our own gym, so we go, from the houses to the clinical space in downtown Monroe. Then we have our own gym that it's our gym. It's the Carpenter Shed gym. So our boys are in there doing experiential work. Functional
Like a
fitness.
trainer
Yeah,
helping them?
Yeah. So Parker, he's a DC. He's
Okay.
also I don't know if I can say the word CrossFit on here, but he's
Yeah.
He's a CrossFit whatever.
Yeah, certified.
And he's he's trained just like the DCs are. They all have CITs. They all have their life coaching certifications. And then Parker has the additional stuff that he needs for it to be an experiential coach. And so Parker's got those guys in there. They're doing a group. That is a processing group.
Right.
But they are moving their bodies. We believe from the very beginning of the program,
Absolutely.
you got to move a muscle to change a thought. And you need to be sleeping, eating, and moving your body. Period. That's it. We've got to start doing at least that. So they're doing, they're doing experiential work. But to answer the question, so phase 1 and phase 2 at the first house, phase 3 and 4 at the second house. The phase 3 and phase 4 is where it looks more transitional in nature to what you guys are kind of probably know is transitional. It's a little bit different for us because it's a whole lot more structure.
Yeah.
And we're still like all up in the middle of it because we are now adding we're adding work. They're required to get a part-time job.
That's
And
great.
so part of that pre-work in those 1 and 2 is, do they even know how to fill out a job application?
Yeah, or make
they
a
don't.
resume or
Yep.
anything
I don't
like
know
that. Yeah, no way.
No, they don't.
Mom does that.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
or mom hadn't required them
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
dad hasn't because, we just roll in with the debit card from
Yeah.
mom and dad.
Here's $100.
Or I'm just, Apple Pay and everything
Yeah,
off mom
yeah.
and daddy's credit card. So we're adding all of that back because we know that when they get over to the second half that we're gonna add a lot of weight back to them. Again, it's the school, it's job, it's programming, it's session with your therapist, session with your life coach. We are requiring it's different. It's different than being just in structured group and PHP, but it's still adding the weight of life back to them. So we want them to practice. They have to practice while the whole team is watching and waiting and ready because they're the age group here that we're talking about, the 16 to 20, they really do their best to try to revert back to patterns and behaviors.
Oh yeah, of course. they do.
Because that was
course.
easy.
Yeah.
That one to escape.
It's comfortable.
This is right.
Comfort.
I don't want to have to
Yeah.
carry the weight of my load.
I've never
Yeah.
had to.
You're right.
Right.
And so you're putting something else in back. You keep adding stuff into my backpack, and it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just like to go back to not having to do that.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So we're waiting and waiting. But all that to say is that adding all of those things, back to them. They show up.
Right.
And the confidence they're gaining
Right.
from
Well, it's just
making
that
some nuggets,
right. It's just
some
the,
chicken
the
tenders, and-
repetition of
yeah,
it over and over and
yeah,
over of like, we're going to practice, we're going to practice, we're going to practice.
right.
Right.
And they all get fired from their first job. I mean, again, I
Typically,
shouldn't say
yeah.
I warn parents from the very beginning. I'm like, hey, my guy is probably going to get fired from his first job.
Yeah, right.
Don't
so
let it
don't
freak you
melt
out.
down.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's good.
Right.
It's okay. We're prepared.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's where that coaching piece comes into play
That's awesome.
of like, hey, my guy, don't let this is not the end of the world.
Right.
You lost a job. So let's process like what
Right.
happened, and then tomorrow morning, guess what happens?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get another job.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to find something
Right.
else.
hitting the
We doing
streets.
something.
Yeah.
We're not sitting around.
In
No,
Monroe
something.
is a recovery friendly place for
It
them.
is.
I mean, there's a lot of treatment, adult
There is
treatment.
it is, and that's one thing that people don't understand about Monroe is that the recovery world there is big.
Yeah.
It's
huge.
connected and big, and it comes from both sides of this. It comes from just the AA and recovery meeting side of that of doing finding there's always programs. We introduce the boys to that to the steps in the program. We don't require them to work them, but we're going to meetings.
Mhm.
We're just observing, figuring out, is this the place for me?
Mm-hmm.
We're also taking them to giving them options for Celebrate Recovery. Is that what you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If that's for you. And again, we're not requiring anything out of them, but what we are saying is like, hey, there's going to come a time in your life when you're 24 or you're 26. Wherever you are in the world, there's one of these two platforms.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can find them by a quick Google search.
That's right.
And so at any point in the day, whatever stage you are in life, whatever age you are, whatever's going on in your life, there's always that. And so they're going to be able to remember back to a time and place.
Right.
When I was at the Carpenter shed, I went to this thing, and maybe that could help me get through this problem in my 28-year-old life or my 32-year-old life when I have a wife and a baby, and it just got real, and I'm struggling, and I'm
Mhm.
really thinking, well, sure would be nice to have, to
Yeah.
A, B, or C.
Yeah.
Right.
for
No,
sure.
it wouldn't. It would blow it all up,
Yeah,
my guy.
for
Don't
sure.
do it.
My gosh,
Yeah.
right.
Don't
Give
do
me a
it.
glass of wine,
Right.
please.
No. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I live it every day.
Right.
But okay, I have so many. There's so much I could talk about this for hours.
Oh, I wanted to just for the listeners, y'all offer school for
That
the
was my
boys.
next question.
Yes.
Okay, because I know the parents really.
That's going to be their first question.
It always
Yeah.
is.
School.
we
Well,
got to
He got
graduate.
kicked out, but he's
Yeah.
18 and
So this is, again, I'm going to put back on my special ed hat.
yeah. Put on your hat.
Yes.
Put back my special ed hat. The interesting thing about this is that if there's a couple things that happen. So I've got 24 boys in program, right? At any point in time, if you threw a dart at my bedboard, you're going to land on a couple of things. You're going to land on ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Almost every single one of them. If they don't, they will by the time they like,
Yeah,
probably
for sure.
have that diagnosis.
Yeah.
And then adopted.
Really.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Really.
We have 10 in program right now, adopted guys.
Wow.
Yes. So it's interesting.
That
That's
is
a
interesting.
whole topic right there.
Yeah,
We could do a
yeah.
whole podcast on that. Of the attachment and
Right.
all the issues.
Wow.
But I will say that the school piece, from the very beginning of those conversations, these guys they've all struggled in school since they were in second grade.
right.
Sure.
They
you
can't
know-
pay attention. They can't sit still.
No.
They're class clowns.
Yeah.
And so when I say to parents, I'm like, do you feel like you're pushing water
Yeah.
Yeah.
with a toothbrush on the ground? Like
Yeah.
just trying to push water?
Mhm.
And they're like, yes, I do. And I'm like, I feel you.
Yeah.
So school for us is really giving, and again, we want the boys to have agency in this because they're young men
Mm-hmm.
and they have to decide. And I don't care what that is, but once you decide, you own it. And that's another piece of this for the parents. It's like whatever we decide from school, whatever we decide from jobs or future or whatever, the values that you're choosing to live your life by, like whatever that is, he has to put his feet on that. And it can't be mom and dad's, it can't be ours, it has to be his. And the same goes with the school piece. And so as we kind of negotiate this out with him of, hey, would you agree to finish with an online platform? let us put you in an online platform. Get your GED. Like,
What do you think?
What do you think, my guy?
Right.
And getting him to kind of walk through the pros and cons of all of that. And then we're over here, secretly negotiating with mom and dad of like,
Yeah.
okay, here's what he's willing to do.
Right.
Like, what are you guys willing to do? And usually by the time we get to that, the parents are like, we'll agree to the plan. So we can do online, we can do GED,
That's so
junior
good.
college,
That
4 years.
online is a resource now. That's got to be huge for y'all.
Yeah, so we have an education coordinator. He does all of that. And, we just get transcripts in, we plop them in. And I will say that, a lot of this looks like guys who are currently failing.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And do you so obviously the educational, what'd you say his title was? Educational?
Coordinator.
Coordinator, perfect. Does he coordinate with the school that
Yeah.
he
We do
takes
it
care of all that.
We right.
Man,
and,
that's
and the
such
only,
a
y'all got it
burden.
going.
Yeah.
It is. And the parents do have to do their part. I mean, they have to call the school and sign the papers and
Sure,
get the
for
stuff.
sure.
But we're telling them, here's what we need you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's what we need to collect to be able to get the things that we need to be able to do it.
That's that is probably, I think there's that, and then as a parent, school, like I imagine just them hearing that y'all have that, they can just go,
Right.
oh, thank God.
Exactly.
Well, they're just exhausted too.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
so exhausted.
Thank God, because it's like you can look at it as a setback or this delay, and it's like what it really is shooting you forward. And
Right.
Right.
It's impossible for the kid to see that. And sometimes it's hard for the parents to see that
Right.
too.
Right.
It's like, oh, Johnny's going for 6 months. And it's like, yeah, well, when Johnny gets out, he's going to know how to budget. He's going to know how to make his bed. He's going to know how to cook.
Right.
Well, and the biggest pieces I think of this is for everything that we're trying to do at the Carpenter Shed. I think that the biggest pieces of this is, if he's coming into program and he does not know who he is, these guys, again, they don't know who they are.
Mm-mm.
They do not know who they're becoming. They could not begin to tell you any of those things. And so really kind of looking at what is his purpose? What is your purpose, my guy? And what is your direction? And they can't tell you that. And so we start kind of peeling back the layers of that for him with the developmental counseling pieces especially. And we get to a place where we say, hey, listen, like these decisions, they have to be yours.
Mm-hmm.
You have to own them. And because you own them, then you are responsible for the outcome, not your parents.
Oh,
So
I like that.
You own it, and it can no longer be their fault. And then we look at the parents and we say, this is what he's choosing, which might include the education path.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he's choosing. We've gone through all of the pros and cons about which path, especially for those guys that just want to get their GED, which again, my special ed part of me is like, we should have been offering him that since he was in 10th grade.
Yeah,
Like we
Right.
could have, taken the weight of that off of the whole family, but neither here nor there.
Right.
But for him also, it's his choice. He can't blame them. And so really getting the parents the opportunity to say, it's not on us. It is on him. Oh, wow. That's a whole
This is
different.
what he chose.
Right. And getting the parents to think in a different way of like, we're not going to let him blame y'all. Like we're going to
Right.
call him out on that
Yeah,
behavior.
for sure.
Like it's on him. So if he is not doing it, then the developmental counselors are coming in saying, hey, my guy, it's on you.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
You didn't do it. You agreed to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you said. And we also do that, y'all, all the way down to, that who you're becoming piece. A piece of that is what values are you living your life by?
Yeah.
Because you're a human being. You have to choose that.
Yeah.
And so, half of them are, oh, no,
Yeah,
no,
you're
no,
responsible
I
for
don't
you.
know what that is. And so we're like, hey, here's a list of values.
Mm-hmm.
Pick two, my guy.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
pick two that you're saying I'm willing to plant my feet on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I'm going to live. I'm going to start there and I'm going to build my life wrapped around that. And we're like, okay, so trustworthy.
Yeah.
You want to
Mhm.
live you want to be a trustworthy person. That's one thing that you're saying, I want to be known as that. I want my family to be able to trust me. I want the other guys to be able to trust me. I want my friends at home I want everybody to be able to trust me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then as we move through program and they're stepping outside of that one value, it's very easy then to quick and call them back in and say, remember when you
this?
signed this?
Yeah. Well, it's accountability.
I just love
Yeah.
that.
Accountability is, I had no accountability.
Yeah.
I had I needed, and it's so funny because when young men hold each other accountable, it really when anybody holds anybody accountable, it's like, oh, you're ratting me out.
Oh,
You know,
Right.
Yeah.
that's the classic, especially in like young men's treatment
I
out
can
there.
see that.
It's like,
Yes.
oh, you're ratting me out. And it's like, no, I care about you enough to not let you be a bullshitter.
Right.
Right.
There you go.
right.
And
Calling them out.
yeah. And so, I mean, I can remember like, I bought some pre-workout from Walgreens when I was at Prescott House.
Yeah.
And like one of my best friends called me out and I was pissed. But I'm so glad he did.
Right.
I'm now looking back, like I'm so glad that
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, you're ratting me out. It's pre-workout. You know, what's the
Right.
big deal?
Why
do you
First off,
care?
pre-workout's insane, by the way. The amount of caffeine is not
Right.
good. I was using it to work out, in fairness.
It's
but
so
Yeah.
it's so bad.
It's-
And it was against the
no,
rules.
it was against the rules.
Yeah.
It was against the rules. And, you
Rule
know,
breaker.
yeah. And it's like, I'm breaking a rule that can jeopardize the whole community from going to play softball on
Right.
Saturday morning.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right, it's
stuff
on
like
you.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me.
Right.
And
And
so
you got to follow the rules. You need if you can't follow the rules here
right.
in this structured environment, how are you going to be
And,
in the
and-
real world?
And when you
Right.
put somebody like that in an environment where not only they have to suffer the consequences for their own actions, but other people
Oh,
have to
yeah.
suffer the consequences of those actions, they learn real quick. Like, oh wow, my actions hurt people
Right.
and affect people.
That's
it's
right.
like you're so wrapped up in self
Right.
that it's impossible to see.
That's
Right.
right.
It's like it's so insane. The call it a disease or whatever it is.
Right.
The ability to hate yourself so much, but be so consumed, or hate the idea of who you are,
Right.
Right.
and be so consumed with yourself
Yeah.
simultaneously is really crazy.
It
Probably
really
for
is.
somebody
Now
that's
that I think
outside of this
about it
world to
like
think
that.
about.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Right.
Right.
Like you
How
can't
does
even
it-
look yourself in the mirror, but you think about yourself all day long.
Exactly. It's all about me.
What are we talking about?
Right.
You know. So I love, long-term phase,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
gender specific, like,
It is. It is gender
reintegration, obviously the clinical and everything that comes along with it, but the experiential and the community, I mean, that has proven,
It's what works.
treatment has
Oh, yeah.
changed a lot, but one thing has stayed true, and it's that type of treatment works.
Exactly.
It does. And again, I think that a lot of parents, I'll tell you, I get kind of wrapped around my own axle when I hear, I just can't be away from him for that long. And I'm like,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
want him
it's
to go
time to
all
go
the
on
I don't want him to
vacation.
go all the way from California to
Right.
Louisiana.
Right. That's a long ways.
That's 2 plane
What if
rides.
something
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah, emergency.
It'll be all right.
Oh,
That's right.
well, there's more people watching him now than there ever have been.
Exactly.
So he's literally safer than he's ever been in his life.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So
Oh my
that's
gosh,
bullshit.
yes.
Oh,
right.
yeah. Or what if he runs? And I'm like, yeah, you might.
Yeah.
He might.
Might.
Yeah.
Be all right.
Guess what? He might just leave his room.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
God
right.
forbid.
That's right.
Show up on time.
Right.
Yeah.
He
somewhere.
might learn how to, take care of himself
Yeah.
and get a job
Right.
and not
And-
be in your basement when he's
Yeah.
24.
And find direction and independence and figure out who he is.
Yeah.
Contributing member of society.
Yeah.
So the next question people will ask, and this is one thing that I do love about y'all, it's like, if y'all are, there's a lot of treatment centers that treat adolescents different ways.
Right.
And a lot of those places are extremely expensive.
Yes.
So like, if I'm a parent, I'm going to say school, cost, how long is it going to be there? Blah, blah, blah. So
Right.
I know y'all, tell me a little bit about y'all's cost structure. I know
Sure.
y'all work with insurances too,
We
right?
do. And of course, anybody listening to this probably understands that insurance doesn't want you to be anywhere for, I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, you can barely have a baby and they're shoving you out the
It's
Exactly.
a racket.
crazy.
Total racket.
So, we, we believe that to move the needle on a young man in this age group,
Mhm.
it just takes at least 6 months for you
Absolutely.
to create any type of lasting change
Mhm.
at all. And so we are for 6 months, if you had no insurance at all, it's $87,000. Now that's a lot of money, but we are in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare. We file everything else out of network.
Yeah.
So we are trying to help alleviate some of this for the parents, and that was a decision that we made a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, was to start helping parents utilize network, utilizing insurance, and then trying to go in network with a few that we were seeing as popular payers, and so that typically will scale off about 25,000.
That's great.
And so then what we decided was, well, we're going to price them, and we're going to, run the VOB, get the pricing. And then once we give that pricing, that's it.
Yeah.
And so we'll also not require them to pay that all up front, because parents can't do that.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
And so
not a lot of people can.
No, they can't. And so we bill it, whatever that balance is, after we run insurance and kind of estimate. So we're going to, just assume that risk and just go ahead and estimate it and give what we think, insurance is going to reimburse us, and then take that off of the top. And then we, bill that out over the course of 6 months.
For anybody that's listening, just so you know, to get let's take insurance out of the equation. Private pay treatment for 6 months at that price is extremely,
I know.
Yeah,
extremely workable.
Absolutely.
Again, that's a lot of money for anybody.
It is a lot.
Right.
It is.
It is. But
is.
to be able to put that on a payment plan or whatever the case may be, pay a portion now, later, whatever. At the end of the day, the reality is, if you were to go even to maybe some other adolescent facilities or some adult facilities, if you come to our facility and pay out of your pocket, it costs for 6 months. It's going to cost over $100,000 easy.
But y'all, that 6 months includes all of that clinical work, all of the individual sessions, all of the group sessions with LMFTs and LPCs, who are multiply certified, as well, and experienced. I mean, our therapists have two of them were ex-clinical directors at other. I mean, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They just do the work because they love it, and then all of that coaching. Insurance doesn't pay for that,
right?
And
no,
so
right.
You're getting all, and y'all, these boys, they have, and the parents have the developmental counselor's cell phone. They're on call 24/7.
Yeah,
and so that's a lot when you're juggling a case of 4 or 5 boys at a time. I mean, that's a lot that we're literally taking it on the chin for, but we believe it's so much in that's what it takes. And we also believe in trying to make this as affordable as we can without having to give up on the care, the level of care and the level of skill in which we do that. So trying to find the balance of, can we find that balance of what parents can somehow get to financially to be able to do this.
Right.
And you don't, I used to say this all the time. You want to try to do it right the first time.
Right.
So you're not repeatedly trying to do the easier, softer way.
Yes.
Not that that's what they're trying to do, but it just sounds,
well,
you can do 30 days at our place. Well, I mean, for a 16-year-old, it's not going to work. You don't want to pay 6 times.
Yeah.
And then finally understand you need a 6-month program.
Yeah, you'll end up doubling it. I mean,
right.
I think the fact that the care y'all provide for y'all to be in network with or work with insurance in general is a blessing. I mean, and then one thing you did mention, I don't know how relevant this is, but investing in services for clients, adolescents or adults that don't, I think a lot of people, and I just appreciate you saying that, being on this side of the fence, we spend a lot of money on things that don't make us money.
Right.
We do.
And good treatment centers do that.
Right.
And
You just
man,
make the decision
it
to
hurts.
do it.
It hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
It hurts our pockets. But good care is good care.
Right.
And so, we've got
That's a good
we've got a
point.
wellness lab over there with thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment in it. Insurance ain't paying for somebody to
No.
get leg compression and red light therapy. And
They don't pay for that gym that we have.
Yeah,
No.
they're
They
not-
don't pay for
yeah,
that.
no way.
So okay. So I will say this: that Kyle, one of the things I do appreciate about Kyle Smith, which is owner CEO, one of the 3. One of the things I appreciate about him is because if we go to him and say, "Hey, as a leadership team, this is what we really think," and he'll say, "Tell me how that provides purpose, meaning, and direction in these young men," and then I'll say yes or no.
That's
Now,
incredible.
there's days where I'm scrambling, going, "Well, let me see.
Yeah,
let me try to pitch this."
Yeah,
a little bit.
maybe.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right. But then most days, our team is like, "Oh, well, here's exactly why," because now we've gotten used to his approach and what he's going to ask of us as a team when we go to him and say, "This is what we believe.
Right.
We really believe in A, B, or C," or every staff member that you add. I mean, everything. Just trying to keep your staff to client ratio, to the right place, and
Right.
safety measures and all the things that parents that as you're looking at that at the tuition or the cost of programming or whatever it might be, you're not really thinking about the fact that we are paying for awake staff, we are paying for
Right.
a ratio.
I mean, think about it.
We're paying for all those things.
I think about this. I remember talking to somebody and I said, imagine going to 2 individual therapy sessions per week. Imagine going to a restaurant for 3 meals a day.
Right.
Imagine going to see a psychiatrist to get your medications once a week, or
Right.
whatever, to get your prescriptions. Imagine paying to go to an adventure ropes course.
Right.
Imagine,
Right.
you're talking, it's way more expensive
Right.
than what we're charging.
All the
you.
transportation
right.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
transport.
Oh, I mean, just gas going back
It's-
and forth and back and here
it's
and
hard
there
to see
and all the
that.
things.
It's
Yeah,
hard for
it
me to see
is.
that.
It is.
And so that's not a justification to increase prices. I just think that I appreciate you saying that, because good treatment centers invest in things that don't really generate them
Right.
revenue.
Right.
You know,
Right.
they do.
Right. Well, again, I mean, gym equipment does not make you money.
No.
it doesn't. No. It's,
And that's probably the most important.
Yeah.
And these are 16 to 20-year-old
Yeah.
boys who
they
are,
they are messing that equipment up daily.
listen, born to break it,
Yeah,
is what we say. And the couches, I mean,
Ah.
like I'll go in, and part of what I do when I'm at programming is like I'll go by Kyle and I'll go do like walkthroughs,
Yeah.
because I'm like, fix that,
Right.
when I see things. And I mean, I will go in, y'all, and I'll just be like, that's a brand new couch. What happened?
One of the
Right.
legs
to
is
the
off,
couch?
split.
Yes.
in half.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Or the whole entire back, like the back of the couch. It's like completely, and I'm like, what?
Somebody was doing flips over it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what I do is then I go to my own life, and I can remember driving home from work one day, and I lived out in Florida. Okay.
Mhm.
We lived on some acreage, and my driveway was so long, y'all, back behind some woods, and with a pasture, back in the back. And I remember seeing a plume of smoke, and I was like, what is
Somebody set
happening
something
to,
on fire.
yes, what level of insanity am I pulling into on a Wednesday,
Right.
and go in, and I look, and they're all three, my husband and both of my boys, shirtless, all out there standing there, looking at a fire. And I look on the fire, and there's a bed frame.
Oh my God.
on the fire.
Just doing dude stuff.
Yeah,
my
and I was
gosh.
like, I mean, how did?
Yeah.
And of course, you go in, and y'all look at my husband. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, he
He
did it too.
It was his idea.
It was him. They're pointing at my husband. It was him.
It's
he
like
did
that
it.
Spider-Man meme when everybody's
So
pointing at each
I
other.
try to remind myself when I walk through the houses at the Carpenter shed. I'm like, just remember what you deal with
That's
just
right.
2 boys and 1 grown man.
Mhm.
I mean, you're dealing. So going back to the cost of things. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just constant.
Goodness.
So that brings me. So I got 2 more questions.
Okay.
My first one is, what have you, as a mother of 2 young men in their early 20s, and I have 2 boys. Obviously, they're 3 and 18 months old. But like, what
Just wait.
Yeah, what have you learned through your experience working with families and young men? What have you learned about the way you parent? Or what have you learned, what have you learned about the way you parent would be my question.
Sure. Gosh, Daniel,
I know. That's a
Mhm.
deep question.
it is.
I know.
I
Whatever
was-
you're comfortable with, I mean.
Oh
seriously.
yeah. I mean, I think that there. That's hard
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Do you practice what you preach?
thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will answer.
Yeah.
Yes. So boundaries
Yeah.
is that as they have moved, as mine moved through 16 to graduate high school.
Mhm.
At graduating high school, we had to put some it was like, okay, well, I have to have some boundaries here.
Yeah.
I have to launch them.
Mm-hmm.
I have to
Right.
release them to themselves.
Right.
And as parents, that's scary.
Absolutely.
It's hard when you release them. And I knew I had to do it to both of them. I knew it. I've witnessed it. I'm working with these parents. You know, I'm gearing up for it, and I'm like, okay, well, I had one that I had to release to the United States Air Force.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Right.
Whew.
You go from my roof to the United States Air Force. So I knew I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second, you know, then he comes home and goes to college. I knew I had to now release him to himself.
Right.
And then the second one comes along, I have to release him as well. And
Yeah.
and in doing that, I had to hold myself accountable for all of my junk,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, that I'm trying to hang on to because I want to control and I'm
Yeah.
scared of my own fears and what ifs, you know,
Mhm.
and you can't. You got to let it go.
Yeah.
And then as they move from college into this first phase of coming out of college, it's if you plant your feet on a boundary, hold the boundary.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't get off of it.
I mean,
You give
know,
an inch.
and it's over.
Yep.
And it is brutal and it is hard and it keeps you up at night
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
and it makes me cry.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's the biggest act of love
It is.
Yep.
you can do for your child.
Yeah.
It is. And I tell you what, I've learned here in just the last year is that I have to talk about it.
You have to.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
You cannot bottle it up.
No.
I tried to bottle it up.
Yeah.
She's real hard
Yeah.
at it.
I'm very hard headed about it. But
Yeah.
you know, I know that my story is not unique. I know that the problems that I have are not unique to me.
Mhm.
That other parents are going through them, and I'm helping coach other parents through them. How can I coach you through something that I'm not willing to do
you
myself?
go.
Yeah. 100%.
And so if I'm telling you, hey, I need you to hold this boundary
Yeah.
as we move through this admissions process, this is what I need you to do.
Yeah.
And between now and when I can get him admitted, I need you to do these things. I'm asking you to do something that's
Yeah.
really hard for you.
And guess what? I'm doing it too.
Yeah.
You know, that's powerful.
Yes.
To be on the phone with somebody and be able to say, guess what? I'm holding these same boundaries. So
Yep.
let's do this together.
Yep.
You know,
That's
the
powerful.
beautiful thing that happened about 2 weeks ago was, you know, I was sharing with, you know, another mother and saying like, hey, here's where I'm at in my own
Mm-hmm.
life and having to set a boundary in my own life and helping her try to figure out what that was for her.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what is it that I can stand? Like, what is my bottom line here for my boundary?
Mhm.
And several weeks go by, and she texts me and says, "Hey, I just wanted to check on you."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Gosh, girl, your life is a storm right now, and you're
Mm.
then circling back, you know, to check on me." And I think that's the beautiful part of this is that, yes, I'm here to serve, and yes, I'm here to help you get where you need to be, and yes, I want to help you connect. And if I'm not the right person, I want to help you get to the right person. I mean, I want to do all I can to help you get through your storm
Right.
with your son or your daughter or whatever that might be, your loved one. But I mean, it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
if you looked at my life, you wouldn't say, man,
right.
For sure.
She'll never forget you. For sure.
Well, that's one of the reasons I appreciate you.
Yep.
For sure. We're on a mission to bring people in here that are going to tell the truth. And I think
Exactly.
that if any of us were to sit here and say that everything is just easy.
Honky dory.
it is not.
Yeah.
No.
I'm going home to a wife that's been taking care of my kids for a weekend by herself. I'm going home to one kid with hand, foot, and mouth and another one with a fever.
Right.
Listen, I'm going to give you some marital advice here.
I'm ready for it. I think I might know what it is.
You need to walk in and say, yes, ma'am.
What-
Give them to
yeah.
me.
I'll
We will see you later.
Look, I'm offering her a weekend trip.
There it is.
But she
I
loves those
mean-
boys. She loves those boys.
I know
She
she does. She's
does.
a great mama,
Yeah.
I'm sure, too. But I would still say,
Yeah.
mama needs a
Mama
break.
needs a break. I got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So, but yeah, you know, none of it's easy. But if we don't talk about it and have conversations like this, then what are we
Right.
really
It-
doing?
we don't have to struggle alone.
Yeah.
No, and
That's
the
for
parents
sure.
don't. And I think that's the biggest piece is for us to remember is that when they are calling us, but whether it's it's their husband, wife, or you guys, could be a son or daughter, I guess,
Right.
or if it's a parent calling me. I mean, that is the brutal part of this is that they feel so alone.
Alone. Yep.
They feel like they're the only ones going through this. How did it get this far? What am I doing wrong as a mom or dad? How much of this do I have to, like the guilt and shame of the parent, it's a huge weight. And I think that us as professionals being able to walk alongside of them saying, hey, it's all right. We got you too.
You're going to be okay.
That's right.
All right, last question we ask all of our guests. How are you taking care of yourself today? What does that look like?
So, funny you should ask. I was on the way here, and Stephen and I are, of course, when you have kids, you're constantly dealing with something.
Sure.
And we are firm believers in therapy, counseling, seeking wise counsel.
Absolutely.
All the things. And so we were discussing and going back and forth about a new therapist that we're about to go see together.
That's awesome.
on some parenting stuff.
Oh,
Because
perfect.
Yeah.
I've never had a 24-year-old.
Right.
So I don't know what I'm doing.
Good for
Exactly.
y'all.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good for y'all. Thank you for sharing that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
we are going back and forth on a text chain of with this person, this
There you
new
go.
person, trying to get all of our schedules coordinated because, everybody's
Yeah.
trying to find
Yeah.
that 1 hour where you can.
I'm going at 3
Get
o'clock
going.
today.
There
Good.
it is.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. So ours is this will be a new person for us.
Okay.
We've had another one. Don't get me wrong, but this is going to be one
Fresh
that-
ears.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
fresh ears for this age.
Sure.
Yeah.
The 20s that both of the boys are in right now,
Yeah.
and the stages that both of my boys are in. We don't.
That's tough.
Right.
That's when it all fell apart for me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's tough too. It's the phases of a young man's life.
Yeah.
For sure.
It is.
All right. Well, tell everybody, how can they get in touch with you? Just give us your email. I don't want to give out your personal cell. You'll get millions of calls.
Anyone can get in touch with us through admissions@thecarpentershed.com.
Okay.
Or just go to the
Perfect.
website. All my information's on there.
Okay. And we'll tag y'all in all the things, make
Perfect.
sure y'all's accounts are tagged and all that.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
You're-
you so much.
I mean, it was going to be great. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having
you
me.
did
I
great.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
I appreciate the invite. I
Yeah.
appreciate the confidence that y'all had in me sharing
Of course.
Absolutely.
some of my story.
Well,
got a great program.
y'all are doing good stuff. There's no doubt. So, okay,
All right.
everybody, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.